Hey guys, come on in. I want to talk to you guys about the provider enrollment process for the state of Pennsylvania. And I know you guys have tons of questions about that. And here I am. I want to do a little short Q&A and help you out navigate through this process. First, if this is your first time joining me, please don't let this be your last. I am Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick, making sure that you know your purpose and destiny in the marketplace. And back in 2006, I started a home care business from scratch. Well, actually, with the help of a business mentor. My business mentor is a registered nurse. I'm not a nurse, never been a nurse, never been an LPN, never been an RN, never been a CNA, never been an HHA. But I started a skilled home care agency in the state of Maryland with a pediatric niche. And from there, I went forward to have a very successful pediatric skilled home care agency that generated over seven figures in business from year 2.5 ongoing. So that is my story, and this is because I was able to do it, I'm able to help you able to do the same. I give you my recipe in my home care licensing program, or I give you my recipe in my home care mentorship program. So let's get started. If you have, I'm not used to going live on Instagram, on TikTok. So I want to make sure that I'm doing this right. Let me put something in the comments. Are you interested in starting a home care business? And I'll try to pin that comment. Okay. Please let me know where you're watching me from and if you are interested in starting a home care business. Now, tonight I am talking about Pennsylvania, but I have plenty of things on YouTube and on Instagram where I give free information on how to start a home care business. I basically help you go through the application, and tonight I want to walk you through a little bit of the Medicaid application for the state of Pennsylvania, because most people don't realize that after you become licensed, then you have to go over to get what they call being credentialed. You got to get credentialed with the insurance companies. You got to get credentialed with Medicare. You got to get credentialed with Medicaid. And this is how you start to have other payers for your home care business. So if you want to get a Medicaid, a payer, basically that could be a senior citizen. Oh, okay. Hey, thanks so much, Connecticut. I actually have a free training on YouTube that I can share with you. It's on YouTube, and actually it's on my portal that walks you through how to start a home care business in Connecticut. That's why I said tonight I just so happen to be talking about Pennsylvania, because I get so many calls sometimes. I'm like, you know what, let me just help people, because this information, I always say the home care industry is the most tight-lipped industry. People don't want to talk, and I get told so much, I ask, but people don't want to tell. They don't want to tell the secrets, right? So we're the closed lip industry. So I'm here to kind of like make make it even playing grounds. Do I have to get the surety insurance before applying for the license? Yes, you do. I'm actually helping someone. They just started my home care licensing program in Connecticut, and he just started yesterday. And the last person I helped in Connecticut, we got them licensed in 60 days. So, but you can go and you can check out that. You're late to the party. What's this about? We're talking about, tonight we're covering the state of Pennsylvania, and we are going over the Medicaid enrollment process. So if you know anybody in Pennsylvania, please tell them to tune in, and we will, go over a couple of things in that process. Now, let me just start here. So, as I said before, you have to be licensed first. Now, this is not just for Pennsylvania, but this is for Connecticut. This is for Maryland. This is for Virginia. This is for California. You have to be licensed first. So that is your first step. So just imagine that you are going to prepare a meal. You got to have the food first, right? So you got to go to the grocery store. You got to go to the farmer's market. So you have to go and do that first. So that is your license. Or maybe a better example is, if you want to be able to drive and you're almost 16, you got to get a learner's permit. Then after your learner's permit, you got to go, go to driving school. You got to take a test and then actually learn how to drive and then pass the licensing exam, and then now you have a license. Well, that's what I wanted to try to convey to you guys who are considering starting a home care business in different states, that this is a process, and I don't get discouraged by the process because some states are shorter than others. Like Connecticut, like I said, we've gotten someone licensed in short as 60 days, 90 days max. But a place like Maryland right now, they're taking anywhere from 9 to 12 months to license people. So you can't get discouraged. If it's a goal, then you stick to it. All right. So this is for people who are past the licensing phase, and now they got their license in hand. Congratulations. Now they want to become Medicaid providers. Now, I say from my experience, it took me 9 months to become a Medicaid provider. So I did, and I do encourage you to don't put all your eggs in one basket. You should be marketing to people who are self-pay or private pay clients. That will hold you over while you are completing the application, meeting the requirements, and waiting for your approval. Right? So let me talk about the actual enrollment process. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. So after you get licensed, you're in the state of Pennsylvania, you're going to apply with the Office of Long-Term Living. It's also called OLTL. Yeah. So it's an office within the Department of Human Services that serves individuals in Pennsylvania who are older adults. Those are your seniors, and also people with disabilities, right? And I like to highlight that because sometimes if you're starting a home care business, you're only thinking about the seniors, the baby boomers. But with me having a specialty or a niche in pediatric home care, I want to let you know that there is a host of other kinds of clients that you can help in the home or community setting. And this one is very clear because it's saying, hey, we oversee older adults and adults with physical abilities or adults with developmental disabilities. Thank you so much for the hearts. I really appreciate it. And since I'm normally on Instagram, I really appreciate those hearts because it lets other people know that I'm here. So I'm breaking this down to you guys, and I'm kind of sharing what it is. I like to be very practical because if I was just learning something for the first time, I would want to know, well, what is this and why should I do it? So it's called a waiver, and most states have a waiver program. Why? Because let's say you're in the state of Texas, and let's say Texas has 50 million people in the state of Texas. And then out of that 50 million people, of course, that's like a crazy number. Let's say 5 million people are on Medicaid, right? But out of that 5 million people, it could be that 50,000 are on Medicaid, and the kind of Medicaid that offers home care. So what the waiver programs do is that they sort out the client that you're going to potentially serve, and they put them in waiver programs. Why? Because that's how they're able to manage them. The waiver programs are like, that's why I said one says, I'm here, I'm helping out seniors, I'm helping out people with developmental disabilities, I'm helping out people with physical disabilities. Now, what's a physical disability? That could be someone that lost a limb. They could have lost a limb because they're a veteran. They could have lost a limb because they're diabetic and they lost a leg, and now they need help for different reasons. And I want to go too deep into that, but that's typically how the waiver programs work. Now, so there are 3 that are underneath this one, and one is called the Act 150 program. If you guys are hearing me, well, then please type Act 150 in the comments. How long does it take to get on state? I'm not sure what that means, sweetie. Can you specify how long does it take to get on state? I'm not understanding that question. So Act 150 is the waiver program. It's home and community based. That means it can be done in the community, or it could be done in that person's residence for individuals with physical disabilities. And it's basically to help them with, personal care, helping them to manage their finances. They could, have their own money, but, they could have been a young adult that's now, like 25, and they have their own income, and now they need help with paying their bills. They need help, just managing things with life, just being somewhat independent. How long does it take to accept state clients? This is what I'm going over. So you have to be a Medicaid provider first. Are you in the state of Pennsylvania? You have to be a Medicaid provider first in order to accept state clients. And that's in any state. Okay. Then the next waiver program is the most popular one. It's called the Community Health Choices Program. This is a program that helps, it's a managed care program for the seniors. In Connecticut, again, you have to become a Medicaid provider. So I would say, you should aim at 3 to 6 months for any kind of Medicaid credentialing. It's a managed care program for older individuals with physical disabilities, which helps coordinate their physical and behavioral issues, and its long-term care services. And lastly, the ORA waiver is a home and community-based waiver program for individuals with severe developmental disabilities and physical disabilities. So those are the 3 waiver programs, and each one has its own eligibility and requirement. So let's say, for example, if you say, I want to do the community waiver program, and I want to do the ORA because I want to help people with, developmental disabilities. Maybe I want to help teens or children with developmental disabilities. Well, each one has its own eligibility requirements. And you have to meet those in order to be a approved provider, because, the state, they're like the gatekeeper. They will say, well, we can give you access to our clients if you show us that you will be in compliance and follow our rules. And so that's what this process is for. You're proving to them that you're going to follow the rules. And once you show them that in the form of your application, in the form of your policies and procedures, in the form of meeting the requirements, then and only then will they open the door, open the floodgates. Thank you so much for the hearts. And when you do that, then here's the trick about it is that it's good because you're going to run into somebody that can't afford your rates as a private pay or self-pay person. Thank you so much for the fire. But you don't get to call the shots with the Medicaid clients, with the waiver clients, and that's in any state. So I had someone say, okay, so how much do they pay? And I, off the top of my head, just because I know one of the programs, which is UMPC, they are currently paying $19.50 guys for as a reimbursement. Now, let's think about that. That is not a lot of money, right? So let's do a little calculation here. All right. So let's say $19.50 for one client. And actually, there are people getting clients with 56 hours. So you might get a lot of hours. So we're going to use this example because this was a real example from someone I spoke with 2 weeks ago. $19.50 times 56 hours. That's 1 week. So in 1 week, that's $1,092, right? In a month, that's $4,000. Let me write this down. $4,368. Let me know if you guys are following me. $4,368. That's what you bill. Can everybody say that with me? That's what I'm billing, right? So I'm getting paid $19.50 an hour. So because of what, let's say you're offering to your worker, minimum wage is $15 in most states. Let's say you offer to pay them $15.75. You give them an extra 75 cents times 56. All right. That's $882 a week times 4. That's $3,528 a month. Okay, so let me see. So $4,368 is what you billed, and $3,528 is what you're paying. Now you might say, Sean, I'm going to pay them less than that. But let's be honest, and you're going to have that tug of war with a caregiver, and you're going to have that tug of war with a caregiver, and it's going to be a matter of, do I want somebody that's reliable, or do I want somebody I'm going to always have to be chasing every week? And if I were you, and being in business in the home care industry since 2006, the reliable is helps you sleep at night. The reliable keeps your costs down. You just have to trade some of your profit for that, right? So at the end of you billing $19.50 an hour, and again, that's for that one particular waiver MCO, and you paying out $15.75, at the end of the month, you have $840 left, right? $840 left. Now let's get into some real math. And if you've never been on a training with me before, then this is what I genuinely do. I like to give realistic, practical information so you can know, what can I expect? And I actually had, I was talking to a nice lady in Georgia, and she said, well, I was listening to these different consultants, and they were in Atlanta, and they said, yeah, I can get 40% profit off of this in this industry. And I said, I disagree. If we're really doing what we need to do well, then our profitability is going to be around 14 to 20%. But I'm sorry, guys. This is not a 40%. This is not like I flipped the house kind of profit. But that's why you have to have multiple clients. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I got $840 left at the end of the month. Now I'm going to minus out. Let's say you have a home office, because you can definitely do that in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm going to minus out $250 for office expenses. All right. I'm going to minus out $150 for marketing, because I believe in marketing. That's how you continue to grow your business. So your office expenses at $250, that can include hopefully that includes the office cell phone and any software or anything like that, right? So out of $840, I minus $250. Then I'm going to minus $150 for marketing. And that could be like $50, that could be $75 on a Facebook ad. The rest of the money, on brochures or printing out stuff for flyers. We got to be realistic. We got some low budget marketing we can do, and then we have some high end marketing we can do, right? So I minus that, and now I'm left with $440. Now that can be left in the bank, or that could be your profit. That could be all yours, you put in your pocket. But I would advise you to pay yourself $350 out of that, and leave the $90 and don't leave the business account dry, right? But let's go back to that $840. That was one client, $840. That's what we have left over after we pay our salaries, because the salary is the biggest expense. You got to pay your staff so they can keep going. So let's say that's one client. Let's say if I have 5 more clients like that, times 5 at $840. $840 was left over, times 5 clients. Now I have $4,200. So then what I have left, it's going to be more, because I'm still going to pay my caregiver that $1,575. Why? Because I believe in paying caregivers that's going to give me the least amount of problems. So then out of that $4,200, guess what? My office expenses are still the same. Maybe a little bit more. Let's say instead of it being $250, let's say it's $300, because now I'm paying for more people's payroll. That's a monthly. I can go back to the weekly amount, but thanks for asking. I did the weekly, and then I jumped up to the monthly, but thanks for asking. So $300 for office expenses. So remember, we can still stay in the home office. Sorry, I had something. Make sure you guys can hear me. I had an alarm to come on. So if you can still hear me, give me the drop an emoji or something. All right. So now I'm going to take everything up a little bit. All right. $300 for office expenses. And now I'm going to do $200 for marketing. All right. That's $500. $300 for office expenses. And I'm going to add an extra $100 for incidentals. Right? Because we just don't know, right? So that's $600. $4,200 minus $600. Then you have $3,600 left, right? But we're going to take that same equation where we're not going to take all of this, because with one client, I said pay yourself $350. So I'm going to do $350 times 5. That's $1,750, right? So $3,600 minus $1,750. Now I have $1,850 left in the account. And I know you're like, Sean, why wouldn't I take that? Why wouldn't I take more? It's all your money. If you're the business owner, it's all your money. You don't have to spend everything. You can leave something in the account. You can finance your own. Sometimes people have problems with payroll because the state doesn't pay them right away, or they had a delay from their. You can wait. You can maybe do a withdrawal quarterly, or do a withdrawal at the end of the year. Give yourself a Christmas bonus. You don't have to take it. So one thing that I had to learn as a home care CEO that I didn't is how to properly pay yourself. And you should pay yourself a salary. I've had attorneys tell me this. I've had good business people tell me this. You should pay yourself a salary and not be double dipping and dipping into the companies. So $1,750 for 5 clients. And your profit margin was really low. Because if you think about it, if you think about $1,950 minus $1,575, that's only $3.75 difference. So you have to say in your mind, every time my employee goes out, I make $3.75. And actually you make less than that, because we really didn't add the taxes. Some people might, pay their employees as 1099s. But you see how when I was talking to that lady, I was like, there's, especially with Medicaid clients, there's just it's really, really difficult to do 40%. But let me go back. So did that help somebody? If it helped you, let me know. Drop the comments. So we'll go back to talking about the waivers. So, and you live in PA? Are you licensed yet? So when you are, before you become a provider, it's always advisable. Okay, that's great. So I have, one of the reasons why I'm going over this is because I have a DIY, do-it-yourself Medicaid enrollment kit. Are you a Medicaid provider yet? Yes or no? And so then before you become enroll, it is advisable that you should read the regulations. Too often, someone might pay someone to do their, okay, so this will help you. It will pay someone to do their application for them. And I'm not against that. I help people with their application, but what I learned is it's more beneficial for me to explain what's on the application, which is what I'm trying to do tonight. Explain what's on the application versus just doing it for them. Because there's so many people that after that happens and it's time to renew their license, they don't understand what the heck is going on. So I suggest you either read the regulations that is associated with that particular area. Like the Medicaid program it's called Chapter 52. They have regulations. You should review them. And next, I'm going to go over the requirements and then take some questions. And so if you are licensed like my beautiful home care CEO in the state of Pennsylvania, then I have to say Pennsylvania's licensing process is pretty easy. compared to other states, compared to like a Maryland, compared to like a Illinois, compared to like a Virginia. And so you might be taken aback that now that I want to become a Medicaid provider, I have to do an additional step. I have to do some additional things that was not initially required. And that's pretty much because Pennsylvania is like, if you want to go over there and be serve Medicaid clients, we're cool. We're not going to bother you. You do your thing, and then annually you pay your $100 and we renew your license. But you want to provide services to Medicaid clients? Okay, here are the 14 hoops we're going to lay out for you. So first, you're going to have to complete the provider enrollment application. I have that application included in my DIY kit. Then you complete what's called the ownership or controlling interest page. They really want to know if people who they have maybe revoked their license or suspended their license or are trying to secretly come back and, serve the community. And so that's why they want to know. They want to see who's on that ownership or controlling of interest page. Then you're going to submit something that you did with your initial license, and it's your legal entity verification document. You're going to submit the one that you get from the IRS, and you're going to submit your incorporation paperwork. You're going to submit, these are copies. You're going to submit a copy of your Pennsylvania home care license because they want to make sure that you are licensed. So you cannot skip a step. You cannot be a home care a Medicaid provider unless you have completed the step of being a home care, getting a home care license first. Then here's the thing, and I'm like, they are so nosy. They want a copy of your most recent tax return. So if your business if you've not been in business for a long period of time, then they want your most recent personal tax return. And they're like, Savvy Business Chick, why would they want something like that? Well, they want to see if you owe the state. So if you owe the state money, then they can say, well, no, you owe the state, so we're not going to approve your license. But if you do have any back taxes and you're on a payment plan, they want you to be on workers' comp, correct? I'm just starting, so I don't have employees yet. I'm going to go over that part just a second. Then they want you to have a most recent balance sheet or bank statement. So it says if your agency is new, you must complete a business plan with a loan documentation and your most recent business bank statement. So they want to see that. Why they want to see it, I have no idea. Again, I feel like that's like one of those a nosy requirement. Then it says up here they want to see your most recent audit or financial review, but you won't have that. I'm talking about this is for becoming a Medicaid provider. Then they want you to submit the qualifications of your executive director or program director. That's kind of like a resume. Then they want you to submit your agency, job description. They want you to submit job descriptions of the people that is going to be working out in the field. That's something that you definitely didn't do with your initial license. Then they want you to complete the OLTL waiver agreement form. We have that form included in our licensing kit. Your proof of general liability insurance. Now I have to go back and verify the requirement for that because a lot of states will say, well, we want a certain amount. Just like the person that was on here for Connecticut, they want a certain amount. The bond insurance has to be $50,000. And if it says $50,000, that doesn't mean that you have to pay $50,000. That just means that's the limit. So you know how if you have car insurance and your liability has to be this much and your accident part has to be that much. That's what that means. So don't be overwhelmed or nervous if you see that, or if we say you have to have a liability insurance policy that's at least $1 million. That does not mean that you have to pay $1 million. That would be ridiculous, right? Proof of workers' compensation insurance. So going back to your comment, you do have to have proof of workers' compensation insurance. But if you do not have any employees, then what you can do is contact the workers' compensation office or insurance company. Now you want to get one that serves the state of Pennsylvania, and you want to ask them, you want to tell them, hey, I just got started. I don't have any employees but myself. You will have to consider yourself as an employee, hence me telling you, you need to pay yourself a salary. And then they should be able to offer you a waiver of basically not having any employees. So then they will charge you for just one employee so that you can meet the requirements. But best believe, the same time that you initiated that policy, within a year, they're going to be coming back and they're going to ask you, so how many employees do you have now? You get charged by the amount of employees you have on your roster. And they will check because, you also have to share that information during your license renewal. So that's just one of the costs of doing business. Hence, that's why you should leave that extra money alone and keep it in the business bank account. Now, here is the part that you may or may not be prepared for. You got a whole new set of policies and procedures. And this is what most people reach out to me for the most. Maybe they can figure out everything else, but then because these are policies that were not initially asked for during the licensing process, then they're like, how do I write this? So you have to have a compliance policy. The compliant policy must include language that the agency won't discriminate, but also is compliance with ADA. Then your criminal background check policy, you could get away with utilizing the one from your initial application, but you would have to make sure that it matches Chapter 52 versus Chapter 51. See, the initial one is Chapter 51. You do need insurance but not surety for the Medicaid enrollment. Not for the license. We're talking about Pennsylvania. Criminal background check insurance. You need a incident management policy that covers preventing, reporting, and notifying and managing and investigating incidents. An employee health exclusion check policy. So again, that's different because with the license, you only had to do a tuberculosis screening policy. So this takes it to another level. Then you need to do an employee SSN, Social Security number verification policy. There are people who work, here that they may have a work permit. It's going to say that on their Social Security number this is only valid with work permit. So that's something you would have to collect and have in their file. Then you would have a HIPAA compliance policy. That's another policy that you did not have in your initial licensure. A limited English proficiency policy. That's the policy on how the agency will provide language assistance to participants at no cost. So on your license, you probably just answered that part, but now you have to do a whole policy. A non-discrimination policy, which it could kind of go with the civil rights survey, but a lot of times people didn't do a policy for the civil rights survey. They just answered the question. So you would need to do a policy if you only answered the question on your license. A complaint management policy, that is managing If you got a client complaint, they want you to describe how you will handle it, how you would resolve it, how you would, basically up until the person is satisfied. A quality management policy. Now, again, these are things that are usually asked in other states, and they're asked initially. They have to submit those things. So I'm not taken off guard by them asking these things. So, but like I said, you might be if you are just getting, if you're trying to go to the next step. You got licensed in Pennsylvania, and now you're trying to go to the next step and obtain some Medicaid clients. Quality management policy. Basically that has so many parts. I won't be able to break that down right now. That's pretty in depth. A regulation compliance policy and a staff training policy. Now, again, staff training was mentioned on your license, but now this is a policy, and they have added that they want you to include certain topics. They want you to include that you will do training on fraud and financial abuse prevention. They want you to do a training on complaints, which is another section that I mentioned before, and reporting incidents, which is another section I mentioned before. And that concludes, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sections of policies that you would, sorry, this alarm for my kids keeps going off. Yes, those policies are to be uploaded with your application. So you have the requirements that I mentioned to you, like the workers' comp insurance, proof of your EIN number, stuff like that. Those policies have to be included, and you have to include them with your enrollment. Yes. And how soon are you, or how close are you to, maybe completing or submitting your application? Because the application is genuinely just an application. It's not even as long as I don't know how much workers' compensation is. You should go online and, specifically look for, workers' compensation in the state of Pennsylvania. And so those are some things you would need to do. So what I am offering is, I call it a DIY because we have a lot of DIY. It's a do-it-yourself licensing kit, but only thing is that this one includes a 30-minute one-on-one with me on Zoom, and you get all of your policies and procedures. You get some individual videos where I actually walk through the online application and the other enrollment application. And then you get all of your policies and procedures, you get your resources, and then you get to jump on a Zoom with me prior to you submitting to make sure you have everything in order, everything correct before you submit it. So you kind of have like a final review from me, and then you're able to ask any questions. And the benefit of that is that I have people who have bought my DIY for Illinois, DIY for Pennsylvania, DIY for different states, and they literally say, oh my gosh, this is everything that is included in the requirements, because we have contacted the state ourselves, and this is a pretty recent list. If I can show you guys the email. Do I have this email? This is a pretty recent list, what was sent to us. And they do give you 3 chances, guys. They give you 3 chances. So the first time you submit it, they're going by this checklist. So the checklist that's included. And if you're missing something, then you get it sent back to you. Hey, we got this, and this. we're missing, say, for example, your complaint policies. Then they'll give you a certain period of time to submit that. And then if you send it back to them, if something is still missing, then they say, this is your final submission. We still need you to do X, Y, Z. And then it goes from there. Now, what do they mean by final submission? They could very well say, you can apply, but you have to you can't reapply for another 6 months. You can't reapply for another year. So that's why doing it right the first time is important, because, you're already, ready to get started. And a lot of people, they know people who they can provide service for. Sorry, the light was like right in my face. And they just basically need what they need so they can, complete the application process. You went on my website. What's the difference between all my packages? My website only includes my mentorship program. I can, if you guys DM me, this went out, you can get the information on the Medicaid licensing program. So are you trying to get licensed, or are you trying to do the Medicaid DIY? I guess that's a good question. Because we're doing a new group, and so we're offering a discount for the DIY until June. I want to say June the 15th, because that's when it gets released. But on my website only has my mentorship programs, because these items are in what I call a portal, which means you get direct access as soon after you purchase it. Then they're on a separate site. But if you should click the link in my bio, you'll see different things there. Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Well, congratulations on almost being done with your license. Yeah, so if that's something you're interested in, it's, like I said, it's on sale right now with a great discount. And it's going to include all of these things that's needed for the Medicaid application. Now, I've helped 8 people this year get licensed in the state of Pennsylvania in under 4 months. I have some that have gotten licensed in a month and a half. Yes, you heard me right. I've had some that got licensed in 3 months. So we have beat the odds. So that's one of my reasons why I'm doing this, is because I have so many people that are ready to do their private pay marketing, which I train on as well, and get access to the Medicaid clients. So this is just an extension of me helping them. So I'm here to offer it to you or anyone else that maybe wants assistance. Any funding, or what particular funding are you looking for? I actually just got contacted by a funding company on Monday. So I'm still trying to meet with the owner, who works with people with, sketchy credit and everything like that. But my DIY kit, you can get, the portal I use, you can do Afterpay. You can use Afterpay on that. So let me know. But I really do thank you guys for sticking with me during this training. Like I said, I normally do training in my mentorship program. I normally do training on Thursdays. And tonight, I'm just so happen to be on here with you guys talking about the Pennsylvania Medicaid process and would love to help you out. If you need that assistance, please do me a favor, because like I said, I'm still navigating this TikTok thing. And then the videos don't even stay on. So at least on Instagram, or YouTube, my videos will stay on. Please DM me your email address. I'll send you the information, and I would love to assist you going forward further. But if you guys don't have any other questions, then I'm going to be ending soon. Going once, any questions? Going twice, any questions? Bum, 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 bum. And you can go on Google, guys. You can go on Google and see my reviews. There are, I have a couple of people that, I just love how they worded some things, who bought the DIY for the Pennsylvania application, and licensing process. And one of my mentees said, don't walk, run and get this. So we're basically using the same blueprint for the application for the license. About a month ago, we had someone do it over the weekend. She bought the DIY on a Thursday. She did everything over the weekend. She submitted it it was earlier this month. Submitted it on the 4th. She got a notice back on the 11th of May saying your application has been reviewed and is moving on to the next step. And she was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting it to be that fast. I try to post these things. You could even go back on my TikTok of her response. So I'm not making this up. This is the kind of results that I'm trying to help you guys with. Why? Because this is a tight-lipped industry. And when I got started, I can only thank God Almighty that I had a business mentor, that I had someone that helped me out, because otherwise it would just take me long. Can you do some things by yourself? You absolutely can. It just is going to take you longer. And time, sometimes you're like, man, if I was already licensed, I would have this. If I already was Medicaid approved, I would have this. Sometimes those time, because of how long things can take, you see a lot of missed opportunities. And I'm just trying to save you guys some time and save you some money, because when I first got started, I worked 2 part-time jobs, and I was building my business, and I had to pay my business mentor. But it was all worth it to be with her for 2.5 years. And that was a difference from me going from 0 to 3.3 million in revenue in 22 months in my home care business. And it can happen for you, and I would love to help you. Take care, and please do send me a DM if you're interested. Bye for now.